Assassin's Creed Shadows just got a ton of news. Like, we have a lot of details regarding the game's combat and gameplay. And in that overview, we got details and videos showcasing various combat and just gameplay details. And honestly, from everything that I've seen, it looks all pretty solid. So you guys will be the judge of it. We have a lot to cover, so check the video chapters for easy viewing, and let's go ahead and dive in. So with the Game Awards coming up on December 12th, this Thursday, do you know what game is going to win Game of the Year? Or perhaps which game is going to win Best Art Direction? I have a few thoughts on my own, but there's finally a legal way to bet on the award ceremonies through the platform called Kalshi. It's the first legal exchange where you could bet on any event, including the upcoming Game Awards on December 12th. I've got some predictions about what will happen during the ceremony. Let's walk through them. Right now, Astrobot is trading near 50% to win Game of the Year. That means if you place a bet on Astrobot, you will double your money if it wins Game of the Year, which is pretty good. Kalshi is the only legal place in all 50 states where you can bet on award ceremonies. They had markets to bet on elections. They also had markets to bet on the upcoming Grammys, the Oscars, as well as markets like the top Spotify song of the day. And they have a ton of economics, financial and crypto and political markets to bet on. Kalshi is legal in all 50 states, is being used by over 1 million people, and they have facilitated over $1 billion worth of trade. So put your money where your mouth is and sign up using my link, which is in the description below. And the first 500 traders who deposit $100 will get a free $20 credit. So let's go ahead and get started with the actual gameplay combat overview. This is from the Ubisoft blog, and it says this: Assassin's Creed Shadows drops on February 14th, 2025, and we're excited to keep digging into gameplay details with you. Last time we broke down stealth, and this week we're going to round up the fundamental principles of Shadows combat system. The protagonist you're playing as and the weapons you're using dramatically alters combat. They then said we'll start off with the offensive basics. They said we'll do a quick roundup of the basic principles of Shadows fight system. They start off by saying light attacks in Shadows are quick, fluid, and reliable, inflicting small increments of damage. However, some enemy archetypes can power through them and land attacks of their own, so be careful. They then said heavy attacks packing a bit more strength. Those attacks inflict higher damage on enemies, useful to stagger them and create space around you. They continued by saying posture attacks and holding down the input on any attack, that is pressing and holding the light or heavy attack button, will charge that attack to significantly increase its damage output, which that is called the posture attack. And the posture attack can be held indefinitely, allowing you to adjust your distances or change targets. All posture attacks are great at breaking through an enemy's blocking stance, which breaks their guard instantly. They said light attacks can be postured a bit faster than heavy attacks, but heavy posture attacks pack one heck of a punch. If you get the timing right, take note though, and enemies will watch out for posture attacks and attempt to prevent you from changing them, so make sure to keep your eyes out. They then said that mixing light, heavy, and posture attacks is the best way to build up different types of complex combos. They then said that there's a vulnerable state, and under certain circumstances such as the perfect dodge, an enemy can be put in a vulnerable state, which is a short window in which they can be dealt devastating damage. This vulnerable state is the perfect opportunity to counterattack by unleashing a posture attack or an active ability for maximum damage. Moving right along, we have the defensive basics. They said there's a few different ways in which Naoe and Yasuke can defend themselves, some unique to each protagonist. Here's a quick roundup. First, we have the dodge, which both Naoe and Yasuke can use directional dodges to avoid incoming blows. Naoe's dodges are characterized by directional rolls, whereas Yasuke's are directional steps that keep his stature upright throughout. And they said though both characters are very reactive, Yasuke's second consecutive directional dodge step has a slight recovery period, which Naoe doesn't have. Next up, we have the parry/deflect. Both Yasuke and Naoe share similar mechanics under the parry/deflection umbrella, but the results vary slightly for each of them. Yasuke's parry mechanic happens on a straight line. When a parry is successful, the enemy bounces back, opening themselves to counterattacks. In short, Yasuke does not back down and does not concede terrain. Naoe's deflect mechanic requires similar timing, but sees her pivot to either side of the enemy, deflecting their attacks away from her. This changes the axis of combat and exposes the enemy's flanks, but it also means that Naoe opens herself up to the surrounding enemies, pushing you to always stay alert. Next up, we have the block, unique to Yasuke. Block mechanics allow him to turtle up behind his weapon and withstand attacks including incoming arrows or kunai, except for unstoppable attacks, which we'll talk about in a bit. They then stated that these subtle differences in attack and defense are really what makes the control of each character unique and adaptable to your ideal playstyle. Next up, we have details regarding the skills and abilities, which can be acquired throughout your journey to further develop your combat repertoire. Some of these are active abilities that are triggered manually in combat to deal more damage. Some are combat variations or extensions. Others introduce new mechanics that require precise timing and new tactical approaches. These will be crucial to surprise your enemies, and as they're tied to your progress, will give you ongoing sense of growth within your combat mastery. I've then said that active abilities are by far the most powerful skills to acquire, and they look cool, they hit hard, and they offer additional opportunities like gap closing, armor breaking, and even health regeneration. Players can also earn passive skills which work in the background to make you more efficient and powerful in combat. These include adrenaline regeneration increase, basic health increase, time dilation for a longer window of opportunities, and more. They then went over the two protagonists. They said, in essence, our core fight mechanics are the same for Yasuke and Naoe, but as a samurai and shinobi respectively, they each have their own weapon types and abilities that make them feel very different from one another. Despite Naoe's formidable stealth prowess, she's no pushover when it comes to combat, quick and agile. She can make short work of a single enemy with her barrage of attacks, but as the number of enemies increases, she will be at a significant disadvantage due to her lack of armor and limited combat resources. Whereas Yasuke stands as a stalwart warrior ready for prolonged knockdown and drag out combat scenarios. For instance, the last attack in each of his combos will break an enemy's guard without relying on posture attacks. While both characters can carry two weapons and switch between them in combat, Yasuke is the only protagonist with the ability to switch weapons mid-combo via the link attack ability, which allows him to rapidly string together attacks and weapon abilities in a continuous flow. To which the game director said Yasuke has a few unique samurai tricks up his sleeves. One of them is a sheathed posture attack where he will charge up an opening attack while his katana is still in its sheath. On top of looking quite iconic, most enemies won't see that one coming if timed correctly. This leads us into the weapons. Both protagonists have a unique selection of weapons available to them, which offer their own set of new abilities. Among other strengths, Naoe's weapons unlock unique stealth opportunities, while Yasuke's offer a variety of strategies to be deployed in combat. So for Naoe, we have the katana. Naoe's katana is a well-balanced and versatile weapon that offers a good balance of speed, damage output, and defense. Well-timed attacks can stagger enemies, opening windows for posture attacks. The katana unlocks the ability to assassinate enemies through shoji doors. Next up, we have the Kusarigama. The fearsome Kusarigama is Naoe's best option for crowd control. Its extended ball and chain can reach enemies at a distance and push back numerous enemies all at once. While its scythe is adept at giving a single enemy a very close shave, the Kusarigama unlocks the ability to rush assassinate enemies up to 10 meters away. Next up, we have the Tanto and the Hidden Blade. The Hidden Blade combat marks its return when combined with a Tanto dagger, combining whirling slashes and lightning fast stabs. It is the ideal weapon for that strike and retreat, death by 1,000 cuts playstyle. The Tanto and Hidden Blade combo unlocks the ability to perform double assassinations. And then for Yasuke, we have the Long Katana, which is the legendary samurai weapon scaled up to match Yasuke's size. It is versatile and well balanced. It's equally efficient in attack and defense. It is the excellent choice in one-on-one duel or in the middle of a large-scale skirmish. Next up, we have the Naginata. Standing at over 2 meters in length, sporting a sharp-bladed tip, the Naginata is Yasuke's weapon of choice for crowd control. It is very efficient at keeping enemies at bay as well as dealing damage to multiple enemies surrounding you. And then we have the Kanabo, which is perhaps the deadliest weapon for Yasuke and definitely its heaviest. The Kanabo can break through enemies' defenses and pulverize armor with the slightest hits, but its deadliness comes at the price of speed and mobility. For Kanabo players, timing will be everything. And then we have the Yumi Bow. The great Japanese Yumi Bow allows Yasuke to attack unsuspecting enemies from a significant distance and strike them down with precision. Its variety of arrows offer an array of interesting strategies, and mastering accuracy will increase its efficiency. And then we have the Teppo rifle. The Teppo flint rifle combines destructive power with high lethality. Its raw power offers more range than the bow and great armor penetration, albeit with a slow fire rate and even slower reload time. The Teppo is a good opener when you don't mind being noticed. And then they said mastering a weapon takes time and dedication. In Shadows, players gain experience through combat, earning mastery points that can be spent on their favorite weapon types to unlock new abilities. They continued with saying, as you progress and discover new locations in Japan, you will encounter stronger and tougher enemies, each with new abilities and movesets that challenge different aspects of your fight mastery. For starters, we have the Outlaws, who are opportunists that prey on the weak, and for what little combat training they have, some make up for it with unusual tactics. Be wary of their brutes, who could still be incredibly deadly. Next up, we have the Ashigaru soldiers. Ashigaru soldiers are the conscripts and volunteers forming the bulk of any clan's armies. They carry basic weapons and fight using unconventional tactics, and they tend to be more aggressive towards Naoe and are fearful of Yasuke. Next up, we have the Ronin, the masterless samurai perpetually seeking their next meal. Most Ronin are in the employ of Naoe and Yasuke's enemies. They roam the roads and will attack on sight if they recognize you, so be careful. And then we have the samurai. We have the samurai daisho, an offshoot of the samurai family. Daisho are the enemy types that can be only found in military castles. We have the guardians, who are an elite group of samurai who are used as reinforcements when the alarm is raised in any given province. They close the article by saying, study their tactics. Recognizing the patterns and tactics of your enemies will ensure you gain the upper hand. They then went on to showcase the flurry attacks. They said they're marked by a distinctive blue glint on an enemy's weapon. They're a short succession of attacks that won't stop even if you successfully block, parry, or deflect or dodge them. They then talked about the unstoppable attacks, which we already know about. Basically, if it glints red, you better get out of the way. So yeah, from what it sounds like, this game should be pretty interesting. Let me know what your thoughts are on the combat, the gameplay. For me, every time I see a new blog post, I'm really interested in playing, but let me know what your thoughts are down in the comment section. Guys, do me a favor, hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe with your notifications turned on, and until next time, this has been Wes, and I will talk to you guys in the next video.